Okay, so I have in front of me a newspaper. This is probably one of the higher quality newspapers in Toronto. It's a freebie. It's called, anyway, the reporting is lucid, somewhat lucid anyway, and although skewed, blued, and biased, but I mean still, it's vertical to the intellect. And, it's not insulting most of the time. So anyway, that's what it looks like. So in this, there's the mayor of Toronto. Now, the mayor of Toronto, so you understand, is a big fat guy who really doesn't give a fuck much about what people think about him. Quite frankly, I don't much either. People don't generally care much about what they think about stuff as well. So like, if you're not concerned about what you think about, why should I be? In any event, I don't particularly like any politician. So I'm not sticking up for this guy. But what I want to point out is what goes on. Now, these people are paid, I don't know, somewhere between $100,000 and $500,000 a year, I theorize. All of them. And this is what goes on. Particularly, I would like to point out, just so we're upfront about this right at the get-go, what happens when women enter politics. Okay. One bad act, and here we got the mayor of our town. One bad act. This is a bad guy. Don't like him. Robert Ford appeal win shows City of Toronto Act needs a major change-up by Adam Giambarone. Now, I thought this was a bitch that, a woman that wrote this. It sounds like, I'm just going to read it to you. Listen, Mayor Rob Ford just had one of the best weeks of the last 6 months thanks to the ruling by a 3-judge panel of the Divisional Court that he would not be removed from office. But while this curtails further discussion of a midterm election, we shouldn't rush to put the case behind us. One of the big lessons that emerges from this sordid situation is that the current oversight process is not robust enough to deal with serious challenges, particularly those involving recalcitrant elected individuals like Ford. This guy sounds scary. Might throw an eraser at you, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, the ruling only tells us how quickly the province has to move to reform the City of Toronto Act, COTA, and the Municipal Act. And if the Office of the Integrity Commissioner is not given broader powers, the whole process is a mockery. Now, I would theorize the Integrity Commissioner is hungry for a little more power. Wouldn't you theorize this? And I believe the Integrity Commissioner is female. That's where we're going with this. Anyway, in the matter of Ford's appeal, the courts basically determined that the Integrity Commissioner erred in recommending that the council order Ford to repay donations to his football charity. The judges ruled that she didn't have this recourse because COTA offers only 2 sanctions in the case of misdeed. The Integrity Commissioner can recommend the council censure the offending councillor or mayor or suspend his pay or her pay for up to 90 days. It's like no matter what you do, the worst that can happen to you is you won't get paid for 90 days in this job. And you're paid to start with, right? Okay, on the other hand, the Municipal Act determines that if a conflict of interest case gets to court, the only penalty for being found guilty is removal from office, although even a guilty party can escape sanction if the court believes the person acted without knowledge of his or her transgression or transgressed unintentionally, or that the sum involved was inconsequential. I don't know what a 1 second kiss on a penis is worth. $1 million. In Ford's appeal case, the court concluded that the council had acted outside its bounds in demanding the mayor pay back the money, and so the entire process was null and void, meaning no guilt or penalty could be assigned by the court. And you need to understand, there's lawyers humping this donkey, you've got the jurists, you've got the stenographers, you've got, the witness, journalists who, have something to bitch about to earn a living, right? So we got this guy going on here. Okay, let's backtrack. For the most politicians who commit minor non-criminal infractions, the threat of public shaming by a report of the Integrity Commissioner and the resulting media coverage would be quite sufficient deterrent. didn't seem to deter Brian Mulroney or any other fucking politician that wanted to steal. That would include George Bush, and every fucking one of them walking. But anyway, so we'll stay with the subject matter enclosed here. So this individual is clearly, delusional. So the problem is that Mayor Ford is no ordinary politician. What is an ordinary politician? What is an ordinary human being? Have you got any ideas about this? My mother used to say, I just want you to be normal. What the fuck is normal? Can you tell me what normal is? I haven't got a clue. Anyway, this guy's not normal either. Anyway, the problem is that Mayor Ford is no ordinary politician. He's endeared himself to a certain sector of Torontonians. Imagine the nerve of them. And their perception of him is much less affected by negative coverage than is typical. Degenerates, all of them. He also seems to genuinely not care about his public persona. Nervy little fuck, upstart. Who does he think he is? Just because he's got a testicle and a dick. Testicles and a dick. This leaves him free to do and say pretty much whatever he wants. Can you imagine this? He's all the more immune since he cares little about building consensus beyond his base. Imagine the fucking nerve. He doesn't come around and consult me. Right? So, I wouldn't either. See, I could never be an elected official. I don't give a fuck what you think about whatever I think about. Understand? Anyway, so this is kind of the second half of the same page. Integrity trap. What's the point of an integrity commission? What's the point of an integrity commish if she isn't handed the power tools for the job? By Jonathan Goldsby. Toronto City Council has a code of conduct for its members. I'm glad to hear that. But the penalties legally available for enforcing it are limited to a reprimand or a suspension of pay. Well, should we grant them opportunity to commit seppuku? Even my own wives wanted me to charge people with murder for shit. They were really aggravating. I really fucked around with shit, but they didn't actually, in fact, cause murder. So you can't charge people with wanting to kill you and not succeeding. Anyway, so here we go on to the feminine in power, or the feminine hungry for power. Okay. This was learned the hard way. Okay. This was learned the hard way just last week. Can you imagine the courts disagreeing with me? When the divisional court ruled that the mayor was not in a conflict of interest after all. Shit, I'm horrified. Now this bitch wouldn't have had a fucking dream about this in her entire life until this opportunity bespoke itself to her. I have 7 wives. I'm not going to berate women too much, but like this just bothers me. It's shit. Anyway. In addition to the 2 penalties spelled out in the City of Toronto Act, Council's own Code of Conduct also enumerates a series of other actions. The Integrity Commissioner may recommend to Council, including repayment or reimbursement of monies received. Imagine. And a request for an apology to Council, the complainant, or both. This is the ground on which Integrity Commissioner Janet Leeper stood when in an August 2010 report she recommended the Council order then-Councillor Rob Ford to return the $3,150 he had solicited from lobbyists for his football foundation. The same bunch of crackerjacks happened to lose $1 million too and can't figure out where it gone to. Or it might be their provincial buddies, I'm not sure. Probably their provincial buddies, but, and this individual is dribbling on about $3,150 at some guy who has a football foundation. That means he wastes his money and time, basically, on keeping kids somewhat healthy and doing something other than hanging around the donut shop and looking to get high. You want to be in football, you got to be fairly healthy, fit, and you can't be hungover and play game, right? So, anyway, so this is what this guy's up to. You know, you probably put the arm on a few people to help with some of the expenses in the fucking thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a problem with this at all. You know, like, it was for, payments on his own Porsche or shit like this, but fuck, the man's doing a charity thing anyways. He's getting a little grease for his fucking charity from the influence his job provides. What the fuck is wrong with this? Anyway, this bitch wants to fry his testicles about this. This $3,150 he didn't repay. Never went there. This document, a thorough examination of the suite of dubious practices in which Ford engaged while raising funds for his football charity, stands as Leeper's masterpiece, the best character study of Ford anyone had authored to that time. After concluding that he had breached 3 sections of the Code of Conduct, Leeper considered the possible sanctions. First, she revealed that she had suggested 6 possible corrective steps Ford might take to remedy the aspects of the situation, but that he had opted not to take any of them. She's furious. Did you not get this? And using the fucking newspapers, Christ. Humping the donkey with a vengeance. Leeper then explained that she'd considered recommending counsel order Ford to apologize, but decided his words would not be sincere. So I didn't even bother asking him. I already convinced him anyway. Right? Oh, fuck. She also considered requesting that counsel make Ford repay the value of the staff time used in administering his football foundation, but decided that his failure to keep records meant she could not determine the precise amount of time his staff spent on his personal cause. Oh, God. You know what? These people really aren't going to like me at all. Shit. So she chose a sanction proportionate to the most problematic of all Ford's behaviors, soliciting donations from lobbyists. Their total value was $3,150, and it seemed only logical that this cash should be returned. To who? Lobbyists? Anyway, the problem, as we would only learn 2.5 years later, was that Leeper did not approach her task as a matter of restoring balance to the universe. Rather, she came at it as an effort to drive through Ford's thick skull that his actions were unacceptable. And his skull superseded her drill bit. Fuck. Such a sanction, Leeper wrote in a passage, the divisional court would later, quote, disapprovingly would convey counsel's expectation that Counselor Ford is responsible for ensuring that he does not ask for or receive benefits in violation of the Code of Conduct. In his November 2012 decision to remove Ford from office, Justice Charles D. Hacklin determined that repayment was a remedial measure, but the appeal court looked at Leeper's words and deemed that she had used the language of deterrence and denunciation. Fuck. Should have got these guys to look at the accusations against me. Fuck. That is, what she handed down was not a remedy, but a penalty. Oh, imagine. And the court had decided that the words in the City of Toronto Act were to be interpreted literally and narrowly, where it says that council may impose either of the following penalties: a reprimand or suspension of pay. It means that those are the sole punitive actions allowable. The court further determined that although the Code of Conduct allows counsel to order the repayment or reimbursement of monies received, that could not be invoked in this situation. An arm's-length body accepted donations on the Foundation's behalf. Ford did not himself receive the money. Well, he got to smell it as it went by, There's interest on that. Because the court ruled the city had no mandate to order Ford to repay the money in the first place, they reasoned that his February 2000 vote to rescind the order was not a violation of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. One cannot have a pecuniary interest in a nullity, they wrote. Brilliant, these guys. Aren't they just fucking leaps of wit? This raises the question of how an integrity commissioner is supposed to fulfill her statutory duty to ensure compliance with the code if she's not given the tools to do so. Many of the lawyers' arguments in the conflict of interest proceedings invoke dueling precedents regarding the scope of municipal authority. Oh, no. Any case that calls into question the limits and extent of municipal powers should obtain as much clarification as our judicial system permits. What the fuck does that mean? Do you have any idea? Anyway, Clayton Ruby, who's now, used to be a brilliant lawyer, and I hope he still is. He's a genius. I read some of his stuff, but anyway, he's now donating his time to useless causes. Anyway, so Clayton, who's now the conflict, who led the conflict suit against Ford, is now seeking leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. The current consensus is that leave is very unlikely to be granted. I would hope so. But then just a month ago, the consensus was that Justice Hackland's decision that kicked Ford out of office was virtually airtight. Now, I know listening to these long-winded talks can be, an imposition on your time, but can we say this, that this little thing is probably, $2, $3, $4, $5 million worth of Schmidt. Wasted time. One incident. This should be embarrassing that adults fuck around with this shit like this. And, men on their own in politics are an abortion of many things. But women, when they get involved, take it beyond the pale. And so, women need to be recused entirely from positions of jurist, politician, senior director of any colludable construct of any description. Women with power. Listen, one of her sisters was humping the donkey like a whale on a Sibian about shark fin. Some restaurateurs in Toronto are serving shark fin soup. Now, I heard it ranting on the radio. I was in a cab or something. I had this on, so I'm listening to this bit go on about the the absolute compelling need, and she has the authority to put them. Understand? And it's a travesty of the soup's being served in Toronto. She has never seen a shark, I would suggest to you, in her life. And if she has, I'll admit to being in error. Okay. All she has to do is just look me in the eye and say, I've seen a shark. I said, okay, good. Not in the movies, but up front, in the water, with you nearby. So, sharks are a very necessary part of the ocean ecology, right? But you don't want to be fucking with them. And catching sharks is not easy. They don't kind of hang around and look for something you're going to throw off your boat. They got hunger 24 hours a day. They're busy searching the ocean for food. Understand? So, there's no animals that are going to live forever. And I don't know that sharks are an endangered species whatsoever. I don't like any animals being killed for food. Or for, horniness producing things like rhino horn for old Chinamen. Fuck, they got Viagra, you don't need that shit anymore. And you got better herbs than rhino horn, too. Anyway, I never used rhino horn. I don't, Viagra doesn't do anything, help me at all. It just doesn't do anything for me. Tried it once or twice, doesn't make a difference. So, the thing is, for some men, it does, I theorize. But, I don't like to take the life of any sentience in my hands, not even bugs. Some of my best friends are bugs. Telling you. Can have bed bugs. sounds crazy, but anyway. You have nothing. You got no wits at all. Like you're absolutely, totally insane. You don't see it. All of you. Your mom and I are here. We want to bring you home. You know, it's enough of this. It is. Trust me. You know, some of you, may want to fight me on this, but that's okay. But it doesn't matter. Like, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's written. It's a done deal already. It's just filling. It's just details now. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want your money. Okay? I'm your king. I want your disease and your misery, your lies and your frauds. I want you coming home clean. And in order to do this, you need to worship the truth and communicate your findings to your fellows about you. Everything. Nothing hidden, nothing left out. At all. But a focused initiation into this is the King's Bar. Like you write a list of every integrity breach in your life. Every single one. Write them down. And you got them written down. Send me an email. And then when you have them written down, then your job is to go and make amends to everyone you've ever harmed. Everyone. None left out. And if there's no relative or cousin or relation of those you've harmed, then whatever you owe those people, you make a charitable donation elsewhere with zero benefit to you ever possible from it. A hidden donation. Don't go putting your fucking name on buildings, bragging to God about how much you did for him. Okay? It's not smart. You got no wits. You're stupider than you were 5,000 years ago. A lot stupider. You haven't evolved, you've devolved. Your consciousness level now is, most of you are below that of a bedbug. If you were hovering around vampire. Understand? That's it. That's humanity 101. And you got these odd pockets of brilliance. It made me grateful to have this job. I didn't want to do it to start with. But I do now, and I'm gonna, and it's happening, and I'm enjoying it. So, I need you to know things about me, because I'm a king, and I have an agenda, and I have to get you healthy. That's my whole thing. I'm not gonna be political about things. There's things you need to do. I don't give a fuck whether you like it or not. You're going to be told, this is what you need to do. And you have a choice. Do it or don't. There's costs and benefits for both. Nothing's for free. Never was. No free lunch. That was a joke. You didn't get it. No place. Like, you think paradise is some place where you get to hang out like an amoeba, stick your straw in a bunch of anonymous food sources and kind of vegetate. That would be an inaccurate interpretation of a condition called paradise. But that's what you, like, and you kill for ease. You kill so you can stay fat. You kill so somebody else has to work for you. You know, I'm not not saying you shouldn't do business with each other. What I'm saying is, when you do business with each other, that's where you worship God the most. Or not. Your conduct with each other is what He notices, and what I notice. I don't give a fuck about your prayers. I don't think He does either. Give a damn how many times you've read the Quran. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you prosecute your life with your fellows and yourself. Right now, I got women on this planet so fucking lonely they're giving blowjobs to horses and dogs. With their men filming them. What's that? I got millions and millions of young men who would rather kill each other than know each other. Many thousands I would theorize who are so empty of self-respect that they demand the respect of their fellows. And if you disrespect me, I'll kill you. That's grounds for death. Now, this is mostly in the lower classes and Black and Hispanic communities. And, if I were a redneck racist, that would be the exact prescription I would just love to instill in both those communities. People kill each other. Fuck them. Kill themselves. Save me the bother. Understand? You're being played. The money you're killing each other for isn't worth a pinch of coon shit. The same people that are selling you your dope are also arresting you and imprisoning you for selling it to others. Have been for decades. You lie, snivel, cheat, bugger fuck each other because you got no wits, one to rub against another. Understand that delirium you've created for yourselves? You expect to be lied to by your petty kings. And they do. All the time. Every day. They don't give a fucking continental goddamn about you. They care about them. First, foremost, and only. They make deals with each other that would make a maggot puke if we get self-vertical. Gag a fucking maggot. And that's what's running your world today, my world today. It doesn't work for me. It really, really doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for you either. So, it's over. The king's not wearing any clothes. For real now. You're all invisible. You got no secrets to conceal. They're all apparent. Begin the king's barf, please. Be a good boy, Scout. Be prepared. Be proactive. Get it done.